am so happy to be back here at the West Elmira Library Thursday at 7 o'clock, and we're here for our cooking lesson. Once again, I don't follow recipes, so we're just gonna have fun. We're gonna cook, and hopefully you'll try it at home. And you can do anything you want, because that's what I do. I do anything, and it changes from time to time. But I absolutely love being in the kitchen, and being in a kitchen here at the library is the best thing ever. So we're gonna get started. First and foremost, I am gonna put on my trusty apron that I have just for here. I love this apron. And then, if you've been with me before, you will recall I can't stand the idea of hair in my food. So, something I do always at my house is I take a lint roll, make sure my scrunchie has no hair on it, which I already did, and then I brush my hair. So I'm going to step back from anything that I might be using, and I'm just going to put my hair up in a ponytail. Hope you guys are having fun today on this rainy day. The thing that we're going to cook would be excellent on a rainy day. Stuffed peppers. It's really easy. It doesn't really take a lot of time. It kind of takes time in between steps, but altogether, it's really pretty quick. So I'm going to lint roll my ends and lint roll all over, because somebody is going to be eating this food. And at home, you will be, and it will be hair-free. So let's get started. First, my trusty mixing bowl. I have my handy towel, and we are going to start with rice. I do a cup of brown and a cup of white. Depending on how many peppers, you have to just gauge that at home. Usually you think that it's not enough, and it turns out to be a ton more. I have learned that. So I just go with a cup of each. So we will take my trusty mise-en-place, and we have to open this up just a little more. We'll tear it. Perfect. There's a cup of white. Ooh, little flying rice there. And here is a cup of brown. Now, you can do whatever your preference is. And that makes 2 cups of instant rice. Look at that. The mise-en-place works. Perfect. All right, I'm going to put these aside. Now, because we're using our imaginations, which is an awesome thing to do with a library, we're going to pretend we're in our own kitchen. And we're going to take, because it's instant, it's 1 cup of rice to 1 cup of water, which makes it super easy. So put a little pan on your stovetop, put 2 cups of water in, and then 2 cups of rice. Little trick, if you're going to measure out your rice in your water, do the rice first, because if you do the rice and then the water, the rice doesn't stick to the cup. So we're going to imagine I have a little faucet here. I'm going to move these little pieces of rice to the side. It has now steamed on the stove. I bring it to a boil, and then I turn it down low. Always stir, because it will stick. Rice is sticky. And then I just put a lid on and leave a little room for the steam to come out. So then I take my pan, which this is imagination time, and I pour my cooked rice into this bowl. Then I take my ground beef. I put that on the stovetop also. This is a pound of ground beef, which goes very well with 2 cups of the instant rice. And first I take, and this is up to you, depending on what the percentage of fat is, how lean your meat is. You know what? I really don't worry about that. I grab pretty much a pound, a little more if that's what they have packaged, of meat. And then, like I said, I don't have recipes, so I don't have measurements. I just kind of take a half a stick of butter, pop it in my pan. And then I take a little olive oil. Now, you don't want too much olive oil because then your ground beef will not brown. It needs to be kind of like frying like a deep fryer. It needs to be that way, and if it has a ton of oil, it won't brown until all your oil is pretty much gone. So just a little bit. You got the butter in there. Olive oil helps butter not burn. So even though it's like 2 kinds of fats in here, I don't want that butter to burn. So a little olive oil. And then I take my ground beef, and I have my trusty knife, and I just open it like that. You're never supposed to cut towards yourself like I just did. So be careful. We'll cut the other way. Perfect. Have one of my trusty paper plates. And then just take the ground beef. I have a spoon. You can use a spatula. If you have a metal spatula, that's perfect. But if you have a plastic one, I don't like to use them. They end up burning a little bit on the end, and then the plastic can come off in your food. So just, I'd say put this on high on your stovetop. We all have different stoves, different temperatures, different preferences, whatever you want. Let the butter completely melt, but not burn, obviously. And I know if you're not big into cooking, you might not know this, but the ground beef gets a sizzling noise when it's getting brown. So you can leave it, walk and do other things, and just make sure it's all broken up. You can kind of mash it if you need to. Get it all around. Keep an eye on it. You're obviously going to want to toss it. Make sure it's broken up. This is kind of tricky to tell. Then we're going to put a little garlic powder. Once again, it's your preference. If you love garlic, I want to be able to taste my peppers. So I'm not going to put too much garlic in there. And I'm going to put a little onion. And I'm not going to put salt, which I normally would, but we are going to blanch our peppers in a pot of water with a chicken bouillon cube. And that adds a lot of salt, and then everyone can salt afterwards. So, little fresh ground pepper. Yes. I like a lot, but once again, I'm not the only one eating this. So, and then continue to watch it, toss it, it'll start to sizzle. And when you're done, if you are concerned about the fat, you can always take it off, put it on a trusty paper plate with a paper towel. Have my paper towels. Once again, I've said this in the past and I'll say it again. Bounty has proven to be the absolute best for me. I would take it off out of the pan and put it on this paper towel. However, we're using our imaginations. We're not going to do that. But after we've done that and our rice is imaginarily cooked, we're going to put it all together in a bowl. All right, so I'm going to move this aside. I'm just going to toss this right in here because you know what? We can do whatever we want in our own kitchen. And this is what it looks like when it's done. So I'm going to try to hold it up. It's been mixed in. It's got the ground beef. And one thing I'm not going to show you today, but I'm going to let you know, is after we cut the peppers the way I would like to cut them today, we're going to have some leftover. I prefer to take the leftover and saute it up with my ground beef. So if you were here to see, I have little pieces of red pepper, pieces of green pepper. If you don't want to do that, it does take more time. You don't have to, but it's nice to have a little crunch in it. All right, that's that. All right, so for the peppers, I brought a red pepper, yellow pepper, and orange pepper. I like to use a multicolor, as I've told you before if you've watched. I like to have 3 colors. Today we're going to have 4 because I would be doing a green pepper too, because that's just traditionally what everyone thinks. And green peppers are less expensive in the grocery store. These little guys, they get a good price for them. But they're beautiful, and I love my food to look good. So, here's one completely untouched, except, of course, cleaned. Here's one sliced the way I'd like to slice it and cleaned out. And here's one blanched. And as you can see, well, maybe you can't, it's softer, but I'm going to show you how tender it is. I have a little poker, and you can just, it goes right through. Actually, I could show you this way, all the way through. Super easy. So that's how I like my peppers, because I don't like to put them in the oven raw, because I don't feel like, I just don't want them to be raw. I want them to be cooked. So I am going to move these aside, and I'm going to show you quickly. This is a trick. I want the stem. Now, traditionally people cut the top off, and you can still use the top to put into your mixture, but I like to leave the stem. If you cut the top off, you don't have your stem. And they usually have like 4 different bumps on the bottom, 4 or more. But if you cut right at the stem, like that, so the stem stays on, that's how it's gonna look. And this might look like waste, but it's not. Check this out. I have taken that piece that appears to be waste. It looks like this. They're all cleaned out. They're not blanched yet for today's program, but that's what I would do. I would blanch these, and these would go in the oven. And isn't this just adorable? These are for the kids. No kid is going to eat a whole stuffed pepper. These you don't have to waste, and you can make adorable little ones for the children. So, after that, I brought my colander. This is what you're going to drain them in after you steam them or blanch them with your bouillon. I take a little aluminum pan. I know what you're thinking. 2, 3, that's not enough. You can get these very inexpensive, and they can fit in your oven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Honestly, you can get enough. I prefer this size because it holds my peppers up. It works perfectly for me. So these obviously you can toss, you don't have to clean. I usually, when I'm doing baking quite or cooking, use Pam or any cooking spray. I'm not doing that this time. I am taking my sauce. Now, you can make homemade sauce, you can buy diced tomatoes. I like things to be easy, so here's a trick. Buy your favorite tomato sauce in a jar or a can. So, I'm going to not show the label. This stuff is incredible. No matter what brand you like, where you shop, you can find something like this. It's called Chunky Garden Combo. So, and it's a pasta sauce. So it is like vegetarian or however you want to think about it, there's no meat product in it. So, trick for opening, if you bang, it breaks the seal. And then you can open very easily. So, I take some and I pour it in the bottom of the pan, like that. Now, as much as you'd like, if you like more, you can have a lot, and then, you know, you could even serve this over pasta. With rice, it might be a little too much, but if you need a filler, you're gonna want more sauce then. I actually like this sauce completely plain. I can eat it out of the jar. So, but for this, I'm just going to put a little less than a half into my pan. And then I'm going to set my pan aside, and I'm going to show you on one of my trusty paper plates how I stuff them. So I have this beautiful yellow one, but it's not blanched yet. So I'm going to stuff this orange one. So I like to put a little cheese in the bottom of my peppers. I love cheese. It helps make it a little more solid in the bottom. So just a bag of mozzarella. This happens to be whole milk. You can use skim, whatever you prefer. I take a little. Not too much. We're not looking for, you know, cheese bread. We're doing stuffed peppers. So just a little bit. I hope you can see that. It's kind of tricky, but you can figure it out. It's really easy. And then I take a smaller spoon. And if you wanted to do this in advance, you can do this cold. Mine is cold right now, but it works warm or cold. I tend to hold my pepper gently and push. Just like that. I like it to be well packed. So, smells good. I know I just heard my stomach rumble. Whew. This will be perfect for tonight. Or, these are excellent frozen. Absolutely excellent. If you have some occasion that you're going to need something and you don't really want to spend a lot of time that day you can do these. Freeze them. You can even freeze them in that pan, which is way cool. So, I take this and I put it in my pan. And I'm not certain how well this is going to work, but I'm going to try to show you. And my sauce is going to go. There we go. And then I stick another one on the other side. They work perfect. The pan is exceptional for this. I'm going to move that aside. And then, of course, you don't have to. Some people just cover it with sauce. Once again, I love cheese. This is slanted a little bit because the stem is hitting the pan. So I am going to move it and wipe the sauce off my hands. And take just a little. Now, once again, we're not trying to eat a bag of mozzarella. So I just put I don't know, like maybe just like a tiny little handful. Our hands are all different sizes, so it's hard to say that. I think you can figure it out though. Then put it in the oven. Once again, our ovens are different, the temperature depending. I put it in for about 350. Ground beef is already cooked. Pepper is already blanched. We just want to heat it through, and we want the mozzarella to have a nice brown look to it. Once again, I've mentioned in the past, I'll mention again, cheese, whatever kind, but mozzarella especially, will burn extremely quickly. You have got to watch it. It can look like not done, and then you can look like, and I'm not kidding, 10 seconds later and it can be burnt. So you have to keep an eye on it. That's probably the most time-consuming part of all of this, is keeping an eye on things. So, I'm gonna move this aside and just show you little color. I would take this one for the children and put a little cheese. Not too much because this is obviously a lot smaller. And I'm gonna pull another plate over here. And once again, I'm gonna hold my pepper gently and just pack this in here for the kids. There we go. And I would cover it with mozzarella, and I'd put it in a different pan because this is going to warm quicker than the larger pepper. So there you have it. That's about it. So now I'm gonna wipe my hands on my trusty towel. And I'm gonna show you exactly what this looks like when it comes out of the oven. Of course, you want to use some pot holders. And like I said, I use the same exact, well, not exact pan, but the same style of a pan. And I cooked these at home. And I hope you can kind of get a little idea. However, I'm not gonna serve them this. You could put that in the middle of the table. I tend to like a little more presentation. So I am going to use this spoon that my mixture was in, but you know what? Rice is stuck to it. Trusty paper towel. Just going to take the rice off, pretty much clean, move that aside, garbage, and gently, they're still warm, oh my, take this out of the pan, and I hope you can see my little stem. Now this is not as colorful as these will be, but like I said, they're known as stuffed green peppers. And then for me, my cheese is browned like that, but I like to decorate. So I'm gonna take some of that extra sauce and just kind of drizzle it on my pepper. And on the plate around my pepper, you could also put some cheese in there if you want decoration, like that. And oops, I have a little spot I'd like to pick up. Paper towel once again. See, I don't like that little drip there. So I'm gonna remove it. Perfect! Isn't that beautiful? And like I said, if you want to take a little cheese to decorate it, you could. Just decorate it around. You could take Parmesan cheese and sprinkle a little. If you like your peppers hot, you could take a little crushed red pepper into it. Guess what? You can do anything you want because you've come to the West Elmira Library, you brought your imagination, and we have the knowledge that you need to do way cool things like this. My thing is cooking, but we do a lot of other awesome things here, and we have books. I know, it's hard to believe, but we do. And we have cookbooks, and we have lots of cookbooks. So today I have two that I'd like to show you. You can come, you can borrow them. You can't look at them a long time right now, but in the future you can. This is a beautiful book called Wing It, which we just did, and 100 Days of Real Food. Now, this might not be like real like what they're thinking, but it's real food to me, and it's gonna taste real good. So, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you try it. You can always let me know what you think. You can go to Facebook, you can go to CCLD, you can navigate around the computer or whatever technology you have, and you can have us field questions for you if you'd like. So, once again, West Elmira Library, Thursday at 7 o'clock. And if you have any ideas of what you'd like to do next week, just let me know, and I will see you then. Thank you.